It was just after 3 in the morning, a quiet stretch of road near John Wayne and Altura parkways. No traffic, no noise. Just the sound of a motorcycle getting louder. That motorcycle was being driven by a 29-year-old man named Demetrius Caddis, and he was going fast. But this wasn't just a case of speeding. There was a police cruiser behind him, with lights on and sirens blaring.
Shut your bike off. Shut your bike off. And now he's fleeing. Southbound over the overpass. He's a real bad driver. 90 miles an hour, ran a red light, and almost got hit. Sam 10, I might have a motorcycle taking off on me. Southbound. John Wayne and Hathaway. I haven't even lit him up. He's going 80. Like I said, I haven't even lit him up yet. He's not driving very good either. Like he's an inexperienced driver. Shut your bike off. Shut your bike off.
According to the officer, the rider had been weaving through traffic earlier, struggling to keep control. It looked like he didn't know how to handle the bike, or maybe he was impaired. The officer attempted to pull him over. At first, it worked. Dimitri stopped, but the moment the officer decided to step out, he took off. And this is when things went from bad to tragic. What followed was a high-speed chase.
Shut your bike off. And now he's fleeing. Southbound over the overpass. He's a real bad driver. 90 miles an hour. Ran a red light. And almost got hit. Let Doc Chin know he's headed their way. And he's crashed. He crashed out at right before Hathaway, or excuse me, right before. Altura North. Call paramedics. He's down. Hey. Can you, please stop there. I know he almost hit you.
No, I just seen him wreck, bro.
I know. You're pulling out over there. Sit tight.
Caddis pushed the throttle to nearly 90 miles per hour in a 35 zone. He blasted through intersections, nearly struck a pickup truck, and kept going. Until he didn't. As the road curved just ahead of the intersection, Demetrius failed to turn in time. He crashed hard. The motorcycle hit the curb and tore apart, scattering debris over 100 feet from where his body landed. Paramedics were called immediately, but when they arrived it was already too late. Caddis had suffered a massive head injury, a broken neck, and multiple fractures. He died at the scene.
He's not responsive. No breathing, faint pulse, looks like a broken neck. He was driving horribly even just to start.
He said the same thing.
Yeah, he almost, when he ran the red light, this guy was pulling out, almost hit him. He's got no ID on him.
What?
He's got no ID on him. He was driving even before I tried to stop him, he was not being able to balance on his bike. Let me see if he's still got a faint pulse. I think his neck is broken though. You heard what I said. I wouldn't even try to stop him at the. I hadn't lit him up until right at Honeycutt, and he pulled over, and then he drove forward and punched it over the overpass. I got down right before here, and he ran the red light. I backed off over there, and then I saw him wreck out.
The officer later said it looked like he was inexperienced, like he didn't know how to ride the bike properly. But maybe that wasn't it. Maybe he was scared. Maybe he didn't have a license. Or maybe he just panicked. Whatever the reason was, he made a choice, and that choice cost him his life. Sometimes it's not about the crash itself, it's what leads up to it. And in this case, it was fear, speed, and a single moment of refusal to stop. That's all it took. On December 11, 2013, a routine flight took off from Kalaupapa Airport in Hawaii. It was a short trip, just a quick flight to Honolulu International Airport, but it never made it there. The aircraft was a Cessna 208B Grand Caravan, a small, single-engine plane commonly used for regional flights in remote areas like Hawaii. It was operated by Makani Kai Air, a company known for offering air taxi services to isolated communities. That day, there were 9 people on board, 8 passengers and 1 pilot. The weather was good, visibility was clear. Everything about the takeoff seemed normal. But less than a minute after leaving the ground, something went horribly wrong. The plane had just reached about 400 feet when the pilot began making a left turn for departure. And that's when it happened. A loud bang, followed by total engine failure. The aircraft started to descend fast, and inside the cabin, panic broke out. One of the passengers happened to be recording, and the footage captured the terrifying moment the engine cut out. People can be heard crying and bracing for impact, and in just a matter of seconds, the plane crashed into the ocean. Now here's where things become even more disturbing. Among the passengers was Loretta Fuddy, Hawaii's state health director. She survived the crash itself, but didn't make it out alive. According to other survivors, Loretta had been panicking and hyperventilating in the water. She was wearing a life vest, but something wasn't right. The carbon dioxide cartridge inside the vest was faulty. One side was completely empty. Not long after, Loretta lost consciousness. An autopsy later confirmed she died from acute cardiac arrhythmia brought on by extreme fear and stress. She was the only passenger who died, but others were seriously hurt, some with broken ribs and head injuries. One of the passengers swam to the shore to call for help, and eventually, all of them were rescued. And then came the investigation. The NTSB launched a full review. They confirmed the engine had failed shortly after takeoff, but also revealed some critical mistakes made by the pilot. He had skipped the required safety briefing before taking off. Several passengers didn't even know how to use their life vests. Some couldn't find them at all, and the pilot, though he was 60 years old and experienced, had failed to follow several standard procedures. The final report pointed to mechanical issues with the engine, but also called out human error as a factor in the accident. Now, this might be a hard thing to say, but if the safety instructions had been given, if the passengers knew what to expect, things might have turned out differently. One life was lost, others were left permanently injured, and a quiet flight from a small island became one of Hawaii's most disturbing aviation accidents in history. On July 25, 2023, a disturbing call came into DCFS in Rock Island, Illinois. A woman claimed that a child had accidentally shot themselves. It was enough to send officers to check the home of a woman named Staples. When police arrived, they asked her about the call. Staples denied everything. She said no one had been hurt, and blamed her ex-husband's girlfriend for making a false report. At first, it seemed like just a messy family issue.
Are you Miss Staples?
Yes, how can I help you?
So, we got kind of a weird phone call. Do you know Latricia?
No.
No?
I don't know anybody out here.
Some lady called DCFS. And,
What?
And kind of made some claims that you had a child that accidentally shot themselves?
Absolutely not.
No, it sounds crazy to me, too. That's what... So they made some allegation that you had a son, and he shot himself,
Sir,
and he's in your
come on
basement.
now. You think... Look where I live.
No, I get it. Just so I can check the box off, can I look in your basement real quick, and I'll get out
No,
of here?
you need a search warrant to do that. I'm sorry, I'm not about to have my rights violated because someone makes Uranus allegations like this.
I know. Like I said, it sounded crazy to me, too. I'm just up here seeing if, we have to investigate it.
But something about her story didn't sit right with the officers. They asked if they could take a quick look around, especially the basement. Staples immediately said no. She told them they would need a warrant. So they got one. Later that evening, police came back with the warrant in hand. Staples' 4 children were at home. One officer stayed upstairs with them, while the others went downstairs. They searched the house from top to bottom. No signs of a child, no blood, no damage. Nothing that would suggest a shooting had ever taken place. But still, the officers didn't leave.
Can I see the warrant before we walk any further?
Okay. We have a valid search warrant, so...
I understand, but you haven't let me see it, Chet, and you're walking through my house.
It's right here. You don't run how we do. You're not in control of this.
Okay, I'm trying to see. Well,
So, I need your phone, too.
my phone. That's not my phone.
Well, that's phone is taken.
Hold on to that. That's empty.
Well, it's for an old heater.
They sat Staples down and kept asking questions. They brought up the child mentioned in the call, asking who it was and why she had lied about them. Staples gave nothing. She repeated that the whole thing was made up. Meanwhile, other officers quietly kept searching the house. That's when they found it.
Do you have a son named Zion?
No, I don't.
You've never had a son named Zion.
No.
Are you claiming benefits for a kid named Zion?
No. I haven't gotten any benefits for anyone.
Birth certificate?
What is that?
Birth certificate for Zion Staples. Zion Staples.
That's not mine.
Sushi Staples. Child. It's found in your room. We need to get this figured out. Stop
lying.
A birth certificate. The name on it was Zion Staples. When they asked Staples about the name, she said she had no idea who that was. She claimed she never had a child named Zion. But the police knew at that point she was hiding something. More than an hour after arriving, they arrested her. And then, not long after that, they made the discovery. Inside the garage, tucked in a corner, they found a metal trash can. inside it was the body of a child. The footage from that night didn't show the moment of the discovery, but court records confirm that's where the body had been hidden. The child was dead. An autopsy later revealed the cause of death: blunt force trauma. Staples was charged with concealing a homicide and failing to report a death. She eventually pleaded guilty. The case shook the local community. Many were left wondering how something so horrifying could happen inside a family home. And the darkest question of all, how long had she been hiding the truth? On a quiet day in Kent, England, an extreme sports enthusiast came dangerously close to losing his life. He had gone to St. Margaret's at Cliff, a steep, towering cliff that overlooks the sea, and he was there to base jump. Now, for those who aren't familiar, base jumping is a type of extreme sport where a person jumps from a fixed object, like a cliff or a tall building, using a parachute to slow their fall. It's thrilling, but it's also one of the most dangerous sports in the world. And this time things went very wrong. The man, whose name hasn't been made public, stood at the edge of the cliff. He looked down, but didn't seem to realize just how far the drop actually was. And then he jumped.
See you later, guys. One more look.
At first, it looked like a normal stunt, but just seconds after leaping, you can hear it in his voice: panic. He hadn't expected the cliff to be that high, and as he fell, he started screaming in pain. The drop was longer than he thought, and the parachute didn't open until the very last moment. By the time he landed, the damage had already been done. The impact was so hard that he broke his pelvis and 4 thoracic vertebrae. It was a miracle he survived. A nearby Coast Guard saw what happened and called for help immediately. He was rushed to a hospital in London, and while he lived, doctors said it would take at least 3 months of recovery. The man was lucky, very lucky, because if that parachute had opened just 1 second later, he wouldn't have made it. This is a chilling reminder of what can happen when you take a risk without knowing what you're up against. Extreme sports can be exciting, but if you're not prepared, they can cost you everything. Goliath groupers are generally non-violent, though divers are instructed to treat these giant fish with caution. For those who don't know, Goliath groupers are a type of fish that can grow very large. Their size alone can be intimidating. They can weigh almost 900 pounds and grow to be 6 feet long. However, in this case, the grouper initially kept its distance from the scuba divers visiting the bottom of the body of water. After some peaceful interaction and mutual habituation, this happened. The Goliath suddenly went on the attack and bit the head of one of the scuba divers. At one point, it had its entire mouth around the diver's skull, and though the diver was okay, it was very close to being fatal. Judging by the video, it seems that the diver had their goggles messed up, which, considering the situation and how much worse things could have gone, wasn't a bad outcome. There are also some tales of Goliath groupers attacking divers and even killing them. However, these are rare, and there is no evidence to support these claims. Fortunately, the divers were able to swim away and escape without any serious injuries. Honestly, this was such a close call for the divers. This unexpected encounter could have ended very differently.